Alright guys, how's it going? It's Dark Solstice from the Dark Side Empire, and we're going to be talking about what does it take to be a squad leader. Now, this is definitely something that I'm hoping the other squad leads and the other leadership of the Dark Side Empire will take a kin to and actually start working towards, is creating these little videos, depending on who's talking, it might be a little longer, Emperor, about what is it that they do when they're a squad leader? What do they focus on? What do they say? How do they say it? And what do they do? You know, there's a lot that goes into being a squad leader, as I'm sure a lot of you who have been thrust into leadership have noticed. You know, there's a bit more than just saying, go do this and go do that. You know, you've got to be actively aware of everything that's happening on the battlefield, especially when you're leading more than one squad. So let's talk about the differences in squads. Okay, so obviously the Dark Side Empire, the people who are in our outfit, for the most part, are very skilled. They know what they're doing, they know how to do it, and they're very good at doing it. That goes along with killing, following orders, repairing maxes, healing players, keeping Sundays alive. We are very good at what we do. Because of that, we also can take a lot more complicated orders. It's very easy for me to say, oh, okay, look, I've got 3 squads purely comprised of Dark Side Empire members. Okay, Alpha, I need you to do this, Bravo this, Charlie this. And then I can be pretty well assured that they're going to go and do that because they are very competent at following orders and getting objectives accomplished. But let's talk about the other types of squads that oftentimes you'll be forced to lead. And those are public squads, whether the squad is made up of just a couple public puppies or mostly puppies. Puppies. I mean, I've run squads that are more or less one dark side squad leader and everyone else is a public player. There's a lot there, and there's a whole different dynamic to that type of battle, right? So let's talk about public squads first, because I'd probably say those are more often than not what you're going to be leading, is a squad that has quite a few public members. So what's the first thing you have to be aware of when you're leading a public squad? Well, you have to be aware of the fact that these people hold little to no allegiance to you or the squad. You have to remember, these guys are more or less mercenaries, and that's the way you need to treat them, and that's the way you need to see them as. Because if you expect them to do things that you would normally call on your outfit members to do, they are more than likely not going to do it. They are going to argue with you, and you have to be on point and on the ball at all times. You cannot let yourself slip up, and you cannot let yourself appear to be not confident in the orders that you're giving. Okay, so let's say that we've got our squad all nice and lined up at the warp gate. We're ready to go. We're going to move on to our first battle. So the first thing you do is you open up your map, right? We've got to take a look at what's going on the battlefield in order to give us an idea of where we want to go. So now I'm sure most of you know that it takes me quite a while to figure out exactly where we want to go. But that's because I have a specific thing I'm looking for whenever we're going into a fight. So let's see. Let's look at our map right now, and we're going to see where the hot zones are. So obviously, Mao Watchtower right there is a nice battle there. There's a huge force at Mao. Dahaka Amp Station looks like there's a pretty pitched battle going on there, as well as Indar Excavation and the Crown. The Crown seems to be the place where most of the Vanu are congregating. So now I have a couple of different choices. So I can either take us to Dahaka, right? There's a pretty large battle there. Looks like multiple squads. But if you'll notice, the NC are actually slightly outnumbering us. Now, depending on how many people we have, depends on whether I'm going to take us here. Now, for a general like a public squad, you want to take them to a place that has a lot of action, right? However, you don't want to take them to places where they have a lot of action, but a good chance of getting killed, like Mao Tech Plant, if we look over here. Mao Tech Plant has 1 or 2 squads rolling around there of TR and just a couple of VS. So we don't want to be sending our very little, newly formed squad to the slaughterhouse, because that's not a lot of fun. There's not a lot of fun in getting killed. There's a lot of fun in killing, but not a lot of fun in being killed. So most likely taking the squad to Dahaka Amp Station would be probably the most effective tactic there. Because the thing is, once we bring our little squad in there, more than likely we'll be able to tip the number in our favor, or at least bring it up to even. Once it's up to even, it gives us a bit more of a fighting chance in attacking and actually really making a move against the NC, and that's what public people want. Obviously I could throw DSC members into the slaughterhouse 24 hours a day, and they are still going to listen to everything I say, because they have that loyalty to me and to the outfit. They are going to follow me wherever I tell them to go because I am the squad leader. And that loyalty helps make us so powerful. It helps make us win these battles that we should not otherwise have won. And that's the idea. However, when you're running a public squad, you have to realize that these guys have no loyalty to you. If they find that we are getting cut down every single place we go, they're not going to want to follow us. They're going to want to go somewhere else that's more fun, a place that's more exciting, where they're going to get more kills because they're in it for the certs, and they're not there for the battle. They're not there for the victory. They're in it to get points. So we have to take them to places that are nice to fight at. So Dahaka Amp Station, perfect place. Mao Tech Plant actually is now a pretty good area to go to. As you can see, a lot of the TR have, looks like, moved over to Mao Southwest Gate. So moving over to Mao would be a good idea. However, this is where being a little bit more battle aware gives you an edge. So now I said, oh, Mao Tech Plant's a great place to go. Now a less experienced squad leader might say, let's go, and then they go to Mao Tech Plant. And then what happens? Well, if they had moused over just one little square, they would have seen at Mao Southwest Gate, there's quite a big force of TR. And what happens if that little VS force gets shut down? Every single one of them is coming right back into the tech plant. And they're going to beat the living crap out of you. And so you have to be aware of not only what is going on in this battle, but where are the people around. So like Dahaka Amp Station. First thing I'm going to do is say, oh yeah, Dahaka Amp Station, that's a pretty good battle. And I'm going to look, is there anyone at Uplink? No. Alkali? No. Dahaka? No. There's no one there. And originally, before, when I moused over this, there was 2 squads here. So I'd have to be careful. I'd have to say, well, we do have an even number at the amp station, but the moment that squad frees up at Southern Post, they're going to be hitting us here as well, and suddenly our numbers are going to change. So you have to be aware of what's going on in the hexes around you. That way you don't find yourself in battles where you're not going to win. Because obviously winning is the, optimal thing. You want to win. You don't want to lose. So now let's talk about an actual DSE squad, right? Now, obviously, a DSE squad is better trained, better equipped, and generally has a higher level of resolve than most of the other publics. I mean, we're just going to put that out there. It's true, and that's just how it is. So what does it mean that I can do with a DSE squad that I couldn't do with a public? Well, what it means is I can throw a DSE squad into a battle that I know that we may not win, but they are going to fight tooth and nail for every single inch of that land. Like this fight right here, Indar Excavation. This more than likely is a fight that we are not going to win. This is a very difficult fight. But I know that my guys are also very good. And so I can throw them into the Indar Excavation site, and even if we're still slightly outnumbered, I know we can turn the tides of battle. But it's going to be a push. It is going to be fighting tooth and nail, dying a lot. There's going to be a pretty tough fight there, and it's not something that's easy to win. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, okay, you know what? Let's go to Indar Excavation. Now this is where the whole micromanaging comes in. Okay, so once we get to Indar Excavation, this is what I want us to do. And that's when your personal tactics come in. So at this point, this type of tactic, this is what I would do. We would come in from Galaxy and more or less secure the main building. Once we've secured this main building and pushed everyone out, we can start working on the outsides, because obviously we want to clear up this main area to give us a free place to spawn. We want to be able to spawn more or less safely and be able to get out, because if we clear out here but there's still a million people in here, by the time we get back up here and kick everyone out, they've already moved back in. So it's very important that we try to clear out this main room first, right? So let's say we've gone ahead and done that. We've cleared them out. There's still huge fighting around here. All we really need to do is take 1 point. So if I have multiple squads, I might say, okay, you know what, Charlie, I need you guys to go ahead and secure this building right here. Move over here and fight your way over there. Give me an update once you've gotten there. And as you can see, I'm starting to micromanage. Now I'm saying, okay, Alpha, we've got a lot of air. Can you get those AA guns up? Can you get, burster maxes up? Let's take down a lot of that aircraft. Bravo, start focusing on hunting down those Sundays and killing out those spawn points for the NC, I believe. Yeah, NC. So there's a lot you have to do. Now keep in mind, this is going to be much more difficult to do with a public squad. With a full DSC squad, I can more or less assume that the entire squad is going to go where the squad leader orders them to go. However, with a public squad, you have to assume that only half of those public members are going to go where you need them to go. So assume that every squad is going to be at half strength. So you can't throw them up against a column of tanks and hope they're going to win if they're a public squad. They have to be a DSC squad, and a well-trained DSC squad at that. So now let's go. So we've talked about how to analyze the map and where to send your squads when it's necessary. Now let's work on how to convey those orders. Because obviously, you could have the most brilliant ideas and the most tactically, most advanced tactics in the world, but if you cannot convey those ideas in a way that makes people want to follow them, then you're going to run into some problems with them following you. They're not going to listen to you. They're not going to know. And heck, you also have to remember these guys are under fire almost constantly. You cannot expect them to hear you go, hey guys, can you go to A and work on killing the people there? They're not going to hear that. They're busy fighting for their lives. You've got to enunciate. You've got to be loud. You have to cut through that noise. Now, one of the tactics I do that most of you have probably heard is the fact that I repeat my order multiple times. I mean, I'll say it 3, 4, even 5 times if I think that not everyone has heard it. So let's say we're falling back out of Indar excavation site and we're going to go to Core Med Labs here, right? So I'm going to say, let me get into my squad leader mode. All right, guys, it looks like we've lost Indar excavation site. That's okay. We're going to fall back to Core Med Lab. Again, we're going to fall back to Core Med Lab, head to the squad or platoon waypoint. Once there, I want to get up a line of Ingies. Let's get your anti-vehicle turrets up to take out the tanks as they roll up. We're going to take anti-vehicle tanks to take out the tanks as they roll up. Also, if you have landmines, lay them down in a path around Core Med Labs. If we lay down those anti-tank mines, it's going to take out any tanks and sunderers that try to roll around. Now, we have taken apart most of their air force, so we're not going to have to pull any burster maxes, but let's get a lot of things to take down these vehicles as they roll up. I want to take them down before they get close to the Core Med Lab. Remember, it's a very open area. So we're heading to Core Med Labs. We're falling back to Core Med Labs. Get engineer anti-vehicle turrets and landmines laid down on the ground. And let's make sure we've got a couple spawn points ready for us. Let's get some snipers up on the buildings to take down key players as they're coming in. So now, as you can see, there's not much of a change in my tone of voice. That's just really how I speak. There might be, maybe I just don't know it. Who knows? But I did repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat the order ad nauseum because you may not have heard it the first time. Let's say you're fighting against a max, dude. You are 100% focused taking down that max, and you're not listening for what I'm trying to tell you. You may have heard Core Med Labs, you may have heard the word fall back, but that is all you heard. You didn't hear anything. So that's why I repeated it 3 or 4 times to make sure that every single time you had a chance of hearing that. So now, we're starting to fall back. People are respawning at Core Med Lab. We're getting ready, but people are milling about, uncertain of where to go. This is again where you need to start pushing into the micromanaging. So look, they've already prepped that point. They had people on that point immediately. So here's what I'd say. All right, everyone, it looks like they've prepped the point. Let's get some people around. Be aware that they're more than likely infiltrators, so watch your corners. Again, there's more than likely infiltrators on the point. Watch your corners. Now, if you keep saying this over and over and over again, people are going to hear it. Another key thing is to say it in the same way that you said it but the first time. So if you say, get on the point, use maxes, they might have heard get on the point, and they might have heard use maxes. But now if you say again, get on the point, use maxes, get on the point, use maxes, get on the point, use maxes, since you said it 4 times exactly the same way, more than likely they picked up enough of that information to piece together what you were talking about, and they go, oh, okay, I'm supposed to get on the point and use a max. More than likely they will figure it out if you say it enough times. And that's one thing that you do need to be aware of. That's one thing that I think, we're not going to turn this into a mudslinging thing, but one thing that I wish Emperor would do, because you've probably heard me ask multiple times, okay, wait, what are we doing? Because oftentimes when I'm leading my squad, I cannot hear Emperor because I'm trying to figure out what to do with my squad. So it would definitely help me a lot if he would repeat his orders multiple times to make, even putting it in chat would be a good idea. to make sure that everyone is aware of where we're going and what we're doing. It's definitely important that you do that. It's vitally, vitally important that you do it whenever you're running a public squad. Now, your DSC members, I mean, most of us have figured it out. If you see one guy moving, you generally fall in behind him and you follow where he's going, especially if it's your squad leader. Oftentimes, they'll just follow you around. Now, so that's good for moving around the base, but how do you get the puppies around the base? Because obviously they're not going to follow you. You know, they have no reason to follow you. They're just going to do whatever they're doing, right? Well, that's when it becomes very important to continue to repeat your order over and over and over again, making sure that they know, hey, look, guys, this is what we're doing and this is where we're going. We need to be there. And I'm sure you've heard me, like, let's use a biolab as a point. Okay, guys, we're getting hit on the northwestern side. We're getting hit very hard on the northwestern side. If I can get any of you to head over there to start shoring up the defenses, I'd greatly appreciate it. And then I keep saying it, and I keep saying it, and I keep saying it, and I keep saying it. Even some of you have heard me get a little more than terse with some of the public members. You know, I will yell at them if it is what, you know, needs to be done. Because it royally pisses me off to know that my squads are dying and my squads are getting killed because these people don't want to play with everyone else, you know? Because they don't want to, you know, they don't want to fight with everyone. They don't want to go, you know, they want to stay where they are because they're getting good certs and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you know what? I understand that and I respect that. You know, you want to get points. Yeah, everyone does too. But you have to be aware that you're not just fighting for yourself. You're fighting for everyone in your squad, everyone in your platoon, and it's going to take a little bit more. And so that's one thing you have to impress to the other, the public squads. You have to say, look, I've got members of the squad over here dying because you are not doing what you need to be doing. So how are we going to fix that? How are you going to fix that problem? You know, and you need to let them know that you notice this, that you're seeing this and that it is a problem. If they have a problem with that type of leadership, then kindly tell them that they can find a different squad. But this is how you lead your squads and this is how they need to be performing because this is what you expect from them. You know, there's a lot that you have to do each time when leading a squad. You have to be confident, you have to be forceful, and you have to be just confident. I think that's more it. Because it's okay if they don't want to, you know, follow what you're doing. You know, not everyone will. But, you know, they have to at least respect the fact that you are their squad leader and that you're going to ask them to do difficult things. You know? As much as I wish you could just say, oh, no, it's, you know, it's fine. Man, I died instantly. You know, it's fine. I don't have to do anything difficult. I can just do whatever. That's not really the case. You do have to pay attention to what your squad leaders are doing, and you do have to pay attention to what your squads are doing. They will get separated very quickly. You know, you'll be amazed to see how quickly they disperse and they just get scattered throughout the map. And you constantly have to call them back. You constantly have to say, hey, look, guys, this is what we're doing. This is where we're going. Why are you not here? Why are you not doing this? You know, why have you decided to remain where you are versus coming and helping everyone else out? That is definitely a big key factor that you have to focus on when you're telling your guys moving around. You have to make sure that they're, you know, being more or less held responsible for what they're doing, because they have to be. You know, you cannot just let them run around all on their own. So that's another key point that you have to do. So more or less, if you want to lead like me, or if you want to know the way that I lead, these are the 3 or 4 things, give or take 1 or 2, that you have to focus on whenever you're leading. Let's start with a public squad. So a public squad, you have to find fights that are not easy to win, because you don't want to zerg around, because again, zerging around is no fun. but you don't want to find a fight that's too difficult to win, right? You want to find one that's just slightly difficult, just enough to be challenging, but not enough to overwhelm the living goodness out of them, you know? You want them to stand a fighting chance, but you don't want them to have it too easily. So that's one of the things you have to focus on. The next thing that you have to focus on is repeating your orders multiple times. You need to make sure that even if someone wasn't listening, they still know exactly what you wanted them to do and when you wanted them to do it. Oftentimes, giving a timeline is a very good idea. Okay, guys, we're going to be dusting off from here in 2.5 minutes. We're leaving in 2.5 minutes. If you need to get water, if you need to take a pee break, this is your chance. Otherwise, get in the sun, get in the galaxies. We're going to be dusting off in 2 minutes. Again, we're dusting off in 2 minutes. So I've repeated it. I've given them a timeline. They know what we're doing. We are dusting off in these galaxies and we are heading to this point. This is what is happening. So now that they're armed with all that information, they know more or less exactly what's going to happen. And if they have more information than is absolutely necessary, they're not going to need it from you. And that's the important part. You've got bigger things to worry about than where Alpha 12 is going or why is Charlie 7 over here. You've got bigger things to worry about. You've got to worry, look, we've got multiple bases being taken. We've got multiple platoons falling in on us. How are we going to get reinforcements? How are we going to fight this? Where's the next place that's important to go? And you cannot be micromanaging every single one of your players. So you have to be able to give them the information they need clearly, concisely, and in a way that's very easy for them to understand. And then finally, the other point you have to remember is you have to be confident. You cannot second guess your orders. If you are going to second guess your orders, second guess them in your head. Don't say it out loud. If you need to confer with your other squad leaders, do that. But don't convey that you are not capable. Because the thing is, if your squad feels that you are not capable of leading, they're not going to follow. And that's just how that works. If they feel that you are not capable of leading them to a victory, they will not follow your orders. You need to be able to lead them to victory in order for them to want to follow you and want to do what you're asking. I mean, that doesn't sound too far-fetched, does it? No, it sounds more or less like anything that, anywhere. You've got to have confidence. You've got to sound like that general that is, leading his troops and is in the foray, Now, you don't actually have to be in the foray. Heck, I'd actually recommend not. I recommend playing a medic class is generally a good, or a heavy class is generally, or not a heavy class, but an engineer class is generally a good one to play, because that gives you the ability to hold back and stay further away from the battle, but still be very useful to your squad, because this is what most like half of my playtime is whenever I'm a squad leader. Looking at maps, seeing, okay, where's our closest reinforcements? How long will it take them to get here if we need it? Where's the enemy's reinforcements? What are we going to hit by? If we're here at Crimson Bluff, are we getting hit from Rust Mesa and Zervin? And if you look, Briggs Lab is going down. Briggs Lab just went down, so East Canyon Checkpoint will be going down. So if we're trying to hold this off, we're going to be effectively surrounded in the next 10 or so minutes. And so I cannot be focused on getting everyone over here. That's why I try to leave it up to the squad leaders, especially if I'm playing platoon lead. I'm trying to leave it up to the squad leaders to get their squads in line. And these sort of videos and these sort of speeches, I guess, can definitely help you figure out what type of leader are you. What is the best way for you to lead? Are you good at leading a platoon? Are you good at leading a squad? How do you lead your squad? Are you one of those who leads with an iron fist? You're like, this is what's happening. This is how you're going to do it. There is no other way. Or are you one that's a little more casual? You're like, okay, guys, come on, let's go. Let's get ready. We're going to go over here, and this is what we're going to do. As you can see, same information, just two completely different styles of delivering that information. And I'm sure you've heard me do both of them as well. If we're having fun, I'm going to be fun. And we're going to, joke as much as you want. Just listen up to when I'm giving orders. And then you've known when I've been under stress and when I've been, I'm really concerned about making sure that our guys are surviving through this. You've heard me yell at Publix. You've heard me, well, I mean, not yell per se, but definitely raise my voice, definitely get more stern, not taking it lightly, being very serious about what we're doing. So it's definitely a key thing you have to be aware of and something you have to be willing to do. You cannot let yourself be walked over by your squad mates, you know? Now, I know DSE members will not do this, but you will find every now and then there will be one public member who is being, disruptive. He is bringing down the morale of the group because he is questioning your orders. He's being loud. Do not be afraid to kick him from the squad. Squad morale is paramount to anything. It is the most important thing for you to focus on when it comes to how your squad fights. Because if everyone is depressed, if no one wants to play, they're not going to be an effective fighting force. Now, if they're excited, if they're pumped, and they're ready to fight, then yes, they're a much more effective fighting force. I mean, they're going to do everything you need them to do and more. So it's very important that you focus on that squad morality. You focus on making sure everyone knows where they need to go and what they need to do. And just keep hammering that in. Keep hammering that in. This is where we're going. This is what we're doing. This is where we're going. This is what we're doing. Once you get into the flow of doing that, more often than not, you're just going to do it without thinking. And it's just going to become second nature to repeat those orders. It's going to become second nature to fall into this squad leader mode of, just feeling boisterous, feeling loud, feeling powerful. And once you do that, other people will see it. Other people will be more willing to follow you and more willing to join you in whatever you do. So that's more or less my squad lead, for dummies. I don't know. We're still working on the name for this. I just wanted to get some content out. I know I haven't been doing anything lately. I'm working on it. I just keep squandering my time doing other things. So this is one of the videos that we're going to be getting started. Hopefully Emperor and some of the other squad leads will be doing this as well. Do feel free, because we're going to be getting the divisions. I'm going to be spearheading that, hopefully, and getting our division started. And I'm going to be focusing on getting the malpractice or the medic division started. So if you need any help on being a medic, wanting to know how do I do it, what's the best tactic, what's the best weapons, what certs do I need to get, definitely come find me. Find Bishop or Oog. Any three of us, Oogtacular is his full name. Any of the three of us are very, very good medics. We know what we're talking about, and we know how to be an effective medic in almost any battle situation. So do come talk to us if you need to know about being medics. Come talk to me specifically if you want to learn how to lead. I'll be more than happy to sit in on one of your squads and listen and kind of hear how you're doing and coach you into being a better squad leader. Other than that, guys, thanks for watching. I will see you on the battlefield.